Hello dear students, I am back with another program. So today we are going to write a program to display in Word a single digit number given by user. So here we would require a conditional statement to check the user entry is 0, 1 or 2 or 3 or up to 9, and we need to print it in Word. So for that we need some conditional statement. In previous programs we have already seen if or if else statement, but in this program we are going to see a new kind of conditional statement, that is switch case. In C, there are four kind of condition statements that is provided. One is if, other one is if else, third one is switch case, and fourth one is ternary operator. In this program we are going to use switch case conditional statement. So first of all we need to get the user entry. So for that we would be declaring a variable, let's say num, and we would prompt the user to enter a value, enter a number, a single digit number, a single digit number 0 to 9. So this is what we would prompt to the user, and whatever user enters we would read it in the variable that we have just declared. So after getting the user entry stored in num variable, now we'll have to check whether it holds a 0 or 1 or 2, like that up to 9. So for that we would be using a switch case statement. Now the syntax of switch case statement goes like this: switch, and in the first bracket we can specify an expression which evaluates to an integer. That is a restriction of switch case conditional statement, that it can only we can specify only an integer value on an expression that evaluates to an integer value, or a variable which can implicitly get converted to an integer value, like character, which can implicitly get converted to a integer value that can be specified in the first bracket. Whereas in if else, as we have already seen, that if else is versatile, and in if we can specify a condition, an expression which evaluates to even non-integer values or string or character, whatever. But switch case is quite restrictive, that it can we can specify only an integer value or an expression which evaluates to an integer. And also there is one more restriction, that we can only check equality here. In switch case we cannot check less than or less than equals to, greater than or greater than equals to, or not equals to. We can only check equality. So here after knowing the restrictions of switch case, let us progress with the syntax of it. So in switch, in the first bracket we specify our expression. Here we have a very simple expression, that is just the variable. Now we'll have to check whether this variable's value is equals to 0 or not. For that we would be specifying case 0. So case is a keyword, and after that we would be specifying the value with which we would check its equality, num's equality. So if num is 0, the statements that is written in case 0 after colon would be executed. So here we'll have to print zero on the console. So that is what we would be doing. And after all the statements, so we have written just a single statement, but we can specify multiple statements here. And after this case we would be writing a break statement, which is a non-mandatory statement, but here for this program we will have to write a break statement. We would see what would happen if we skip this break. Now the next condition is, if it is not 0, if the num is not 0, then this case would not be satisfied. Now the control would come to this case and it would check whether the num is 1 or not. If num is 1, then we would print ONE on the console, and again we'll have to specify a break statement. Now other 8 case statements to save my time, typing time. I have already written it in notepad. I just copy and paste it here. So all other cases, case 2, from case 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So the control would flow like this. First of all, the nums value would be checked with this case's value, that whether it is 0 or not. If it is 0, then this statement would be executed, and if it is 1, then this statement would be executed. Otherwise it would be checked with 2, and if it is 2, then this statement would be executed. So sequentially it would be checked one by one, and whenever the nums value matches with the cases value, then the statement that is written after the colon would be statement, or multiple statements that are written, those are written after the colon, would be executed till a break statement is hit. Now if by mistake, if that user enters a 2-digit number or a number which is not a single digit, then we need to prompt the user, we need to tell the user that it is an invalid entry. So for that we have a default case. That means if none of the cases are satisfied, then the control would come to the default case, in which we can write invalid entry. So we are done with our program. I do modify the indentation, so it is now well indented. Now let us build it and run it and see that whether it is working fine or not. So it has built correctly and it is running now. So let me specify 4. So FOUR, so that is what it is getting printed. Now let us run it once more. 5 FIV, so it is working fine. Now another test case, that when we give an invalid entry, say a 2-digit or 3-digit number or multi-digit number, in that case it is printing invalid entry. That is, it is executing this default case because the nums value does not match with any of the cases. Now the default statement, whatever we have written in default, would get executed. So one thing to observe here, that after default a break needn't have to be mentioned. Now as I said that in this program this break keyword is break keyword is required, but it is not a mandatory statement in switch case. So we can skip it and we would see if we skip it what would happen. So let us skip this case once break statement. So what would happen here is that if the nums value is 1, then it would be first checked with case 0 and it would not match it. Then it would be checked with case 1 and the nums value would match this case. Now this print 1 would be executed, but after executing print 1, as there is no break statement, the control would fall through and it would also execute this print 2, and then this break statement would be hit, and after that the control would come out of the switch case statement. So this is a bug in the program that has crept in because we have skipped a break statement after case 1. So let us run it and see whether my explanation is correct or not. So if the user enters 1, see what is getting printed over here. 1 and also 2 is getting printed. That means both of the statements are getting executed, and this is because we have skipped a break statement here. So in other programs you'd see that the break is intentionally skipped. Here it is required because we want to just print a single word and there is no requirement of printing multiple words here. So every case has to be followed with break logically, but syntactically it is not a mandatory keyword after every case. Now just at the last time we would check with entry 1 and it is printing ONE, so that is fine. So we are done with this program. Hope you have understood the restrictions of switch case. I would reiterate once more that the switch case allows only integer values here in the first bracket, or the expression which evaluates to an integer, or the variables which implicitly get converted into integer value like character. And in case we can specify the integer values with which this expression would be compared with. So only equality condition would be checked, whether num is equals to 0, whether num is equals to 1, like that. Only equality can be checked in switch case. So these are restrictions of switch case, whereas if else is versatile. So if such a restrictive condition has to be checked, then we can use switch case because it enhances the readability as well. Okay, so we are done with this program. Keep watching my C programming videos. I would be posting more number of such videos into my channel. So keep watching. Thank you.